young digital marketers also have these questions about the whole truth. So I'll start off really quickly. So the first one being that, so how has the whole truth as a brand been successful in capitalizing marketplaces better than most of our other D2C players? And what should be the strategy? And more importantly, the balance that a D2C player should seek between marketplaces and their own D2C website?
It's a great question actually. It actually changes a lot from brand to brand because there are certain brands which are super brand, which are very driven by the brand, whereas there are a lot of D2C brands which are very functional or very feature driven, so to speak, right? Like if you look at an Oziva, for example, they are into functional nutrition and therefore what their products do for you is far more important than what their brand is trying to send as a message to you, right?
Agreed.
The Whole Truth has always been a very message driven brand, and we believe that the process of getting this message out to people that you need to make better choices when you are eating, and these better choices will be driven by better information, which your food brand is not giving you today. This is a slightly harder message to drive through marketplaces, which is why at least what we took as our strategy, and it's easier to say this in retrospect because CPMs allowed us to do this back in 2019. But what we took as our strategy was to really flesh the brand out on Instagram, on the available social channels that we had. Pair that brand message out with a very kick-ass experience on D2C that converts people into loyalists. And eventually, when you've captured some amount of equity with the message that the brand has, only then move on to distributed place like retail or marketplaces, because then you're getting into very strong competitive zone where the support that came from the fact that the Whole Truth protein bars was already there on Amazon autocomplete when we launched sort of helps to kind of bridge the gap between what the first few months of difficult performance marketing would do to you.
Otherwise, I think marketplaces are very difficult place to crack for most brands.
It is.
So it must have helped.
Yes. So and this changes with time, right? Like,
and especially for this category.
Yeah.
As well. And also, like extension to Soumya's question, do you think a balancing between the marketplace and your own website in terms of traffic or in terms of conversions is required? Like deliberately required, or it should be maintained like organically?
At least we didn't.
A single-handed thing.
At least we didn't do this. What we realize is that inevitably there is a diminishing utility to D2C marketing, right? Like beyond a certain number of monthly active users, every new user comes at a CAC which is lesser and lesser friendly to your P&L. So and at that point in time, we keep moving more and more of our money from top of funnel to middle of funnel spending on D2C, and we keep focusing more and more on the wide top funnel that marketplaces have to find new consumers. So this has happened organically for us, but I don't think a lot of metering of this is required, except in the case where you have a huge price difference between on your website and marketplaces, but which rarely is the case. Like most people try to maintain a market operating price. So then,
so I'll just move on to the last question very quickly. So what is that one thing that digital native brands don't usually get right, especially when it comes to acquiring a customer digitally?
Difficult question again. I don't know the answer to this because we have.
Can have several right answers, I think, this question.
Yeah, there are a lot of things people do wrong. In fact, I don't think anybody has written the book on the right answers for this. What people often do wrong, I think, is over-rely on performance marketing. I think there needs to be a healthy split between performance marketing and brand building. You need to build a brand out. You need to have some, essence of or a semblance of a brand before you move on to investing very heavily in performance marketing, right? That is one of the things. I think digital first brands typically are for the slightly more affluent, slightly more premium consumers of this country who are conscious of the aesthetics of the brand and the touch and feel, the taste, the actual product experience. So unlike a typical business in India which is scaled on cost economics, this needs to win in terms of product and brand as well.
Yeah.
So if you are that brand which is going to your design agency and asking them to, throw out a very, very quickly made rough shot design in 15 days so that you can go launch very, very quickly, you are probably sacrificing long-term growth for short-term gains. This is something that a lot of digital-first brands do, which I would not recommend. I think core design, core brand are things that you need to spend good amount of time on in fleshing out and building.
I think that's an answer that you would very strongly resonate even within ET Media
Yes,
Labs, because
yes.
we're always trying to push the concept of branding and performance together.
Right.
And most of the brands, I think, do focus on performance.
And we have seen actually
Yeah.
when we focus on the long term, actually the short term things also starts to fall in place.
Yeah.
So,